Hello, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a very long time. I have been very busy in my life, but now I'm back and I'm back to make some good videos. So today in this video, I'll be making some authentic Dekou Dessi, also known as palmnut soup or Abenkwan. So for starters, I'll be using some palm kernel that's been pounded and frozen, of course. This is rare to find, but I was able to get it. And you will also need some turkey berries, also known as kitterly in Liberia. You will also need some pepper. These are just some peppers from my backyard. And you will need your green seasoning, your typical green seasoning for your meat, as well as an Aidan fruit, also known as Prekese. It's really popular in West Africa. And you will need a whole onion. If you want to use 2 onions, you can, but I only use 1. And here, you will also need some ginger and garlic, okay? Never forget your ginger garlic. And also some salt, all right? All right, and for the next ingredient, we're going to also have some mushrooms here, all right? And I also have some dry fish. This is dry catfish that I have taken out from my freezer. And for our meat, I am using tripe beef and a little bit of turkey meat, okay? And so to begin with, we're just going to put this palm kernels like in the hot water just to like separate the juice from the kernel. And after it's separated, now I am just going to start squeezing the kernel to separate the palm juice from the palm kernel itself. And be careful because the water probably will still be hot, all right? And as you can see, I'm putting it in a separate bowl, all right? So now at this point, most of it should have been strained out naturally from your hands. But just to be sure, I am now actually going to use a strainer and the cooking pot under. So I'm just going to pour it in and I am going to strain it. And do not pour all the way to the bottom because as you can see, there are some black bits and you don't want that in your soup. So now I'm just going to take up the strainer. And as you can see, it's starting to separate very well. All right. And I am going to do this a second time because I don't want any piece of palm kernel in my soup. All right. So that is what you should do. So as I said again, we're going to do this a second time. I did do it a third time off camera, but I'm very picky about what's in my soup a little bit. So, yeah. Yeah. But as you can see again, if you pour it all the way in, you might end up with some black bits. So just be sure when you're straining that it's strained properly. All right. And it is starting to look really good. There's no bits in the bowl, which is a good thing. Okay. So this is what it should look like. And I am just going to leave it to the... Okay, this is just optional, but these are the palm kernels that I had strained just before, as you saw that I put in the other pot. And all I'm doing is just repeating the same process, which is pouring the hot water over the remainder of the palm kernels just to get all that palm nut juice out so nothing will go to waste. And as you can see, since it's really hot, I'm just using a pestle. So this is just really optional. Like, you don't have to do this, but me being the perfectionist that I am, I just want my second batch of palm juice. So I'm just going to strain it off camera and do the same thing that I did before. So let's proceed to the next step. So in a pot, you can go ahead and add your meat. You can go ahead and add your green seasoning as well. Also a cube. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, you definitely need a cube, of course. And I will also be going in with my salt. All right, never forget your salt. And at this point, I will just be mixing everything together. And I would suggest, like, you can marinate your meat overnight and then put it in a pot like this. But because I was rushing, it is what it is. So, yeah, we just gonna mix all that meat together. We just gonna mix all the seasoning together just to make it quite simple. And, yeah, that's all what we're gonna do at this point. And And now, my favorite part, we are going to pour in some of that palm nut juice, okay? We're going to pour it in, and I do not want to waste anything, but do not pour in that black part at the bottom, all right? And at this point, it's at the top. I do have a little bit more juice left, but we will use that in the middle of the cooking process, and you will see. And so now I will add my Prekese that I heated with a lighter, as well as to adding 2 tomatoes, because tomatoes do make the soup nice. I'll also be adding in my peppers. And I'll also be adding an onion. And since it's already bubbling up, we can go to the next process, which is to just let it bubble for about 15 minutes. Let it cook for 15 minutes before blending. And at this point, I have my blender, and I'm just taking out the tomatoes. Okay, I only put 2 tomatoes in here. So I'm just taking my tomatoes, my onions, if this onion can get on the spoon, and as well as the peppers. And I am going to blend this off camera and pour it in off camera, because I actually did lose that footage. But yes, please take everything out and blend it. And as you can see, I'm blending up the turkey berry, the ginger garlic onion, everything that I removed from the pot, and we will pour it back in off camera. And so at this point, I poured everything in off camera, and I'm just mixing it up. And since I love salt, I will add some more, but not a lot. And at this point, you can go ahead and add in your dry fish. I added in last because I don't really like it to break apart. And I'll be also adding in my mushrooms and more peppers for some flavor, you know. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to let it cook for an extra 30 minutes off camera. And when it's entirely done, it will look like this, because it was already done by the time I edited this part in. So at this point, I am just going to remove the extra oil from the top, because when you finish cooking palm nut soup, it does have way more oil than it initially did in the beginning. And the good thing about it is you can save the oil. You can use it for something else. You can use it for stew or anything that you really would like to use it for at this point. And yeah, just take your time, remove the oil. You don't have to remove all of it though. And as you can see, that's what I'm going to use for another recipe. And at this point, I am just going to plate it up because we're ready to go. So thank you so much for watching my video. This is my final presentation. This is Dekou Dessi Abenkwan palm nut soup with some rice ball molukume. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And have a wonderful day. Goodbye.